Chiliz value equivalent to $0.0713 a coin. The present exchange cost range, 0.0711 to 0.0765. The earlier day closed at 0.0760. The change was 0.0747, 6.18%. Opposite rate, IS to CHZ. Chilliz estimate for October 2024. First and foremost cost at $0.0339. Exorbitant cost is at 0.0421, while low cost at 0.0339. They found the middle value of cost at 0.0373. Chilliz cost estimate toward the month's end 0.393. Change for October 15th, 9%. Chilliz cost expectation for November 2024. Before all else cost at $0.0393. Excessive costs at 0.0393, while low costs at 0.0307. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.0356. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's end 0.0330. Change for November 16.0%. Chilliz conjecture for December 2024. Before all else cost at $0.330. Excessive costs at 0.354, while low costs at 0.308. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.331. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's end 0.331. Change for December 0.3%. Chilliz cost expectation for January 2025. At the outset cost at $0.331. Excessive costs at 0.0411, while low costs at 0.0331. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.0364. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's end 0.0384. Change for January 16th, a percent. Chilliz conjecture for February 2025. At the outset cost at $0.0384. Excessive costs at 0.0472, while low costs at 0.0384. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.0420. Chilliz cost figure toward the month's end 0.0441. Change for February 14th, 8%. Chilliz cost expectation for Walk 2025. Initially cost at $0.0441. Excessive costs at 0.0548, while low costs at 0.0441. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.0486. Chilliz cost figure toward the month's ends at 0.0512. Change for spring 16.1%. Chilliz figure for April 2025. Initially cost at $0.0512. Excessive costs 0.0597, while low costs at 0.0512. They found the middle value of cost at 0.0545. Chilliz cost estimate toward the month's ends at 0.0558. Change for April 9th, a percent. Chilliz cost expectation for May 2025. Initially cost at $0.0558. Excessive costs at 0.0643, while low costs at 0.0558. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.0590. Chilliz cost figure toward the month's ends at 0.0601. Change for May 7th, 7%. Chilliz conjecture for June 2025. Before all else cost at $0.601. Excessive costs at 0.660, while low costs at 0.0574. They found the middle value of costs at 0.613. Chilliz cost gauge toward the month's ends at 0.617. Change for June 2nd, 7%. Chilliz cost expectation for July 2025. At the outset cost at $0.617. Excessive costs at 0.687, while low costs at 0.0597. They arrived at the midpoint of costs as 0.636. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends at 0.642. Change for July 4th, 1%. Chilliz conjecture for August 2025. At the outset cost at $0.642. Excessive costs at 0.703, while low costs at 0.611. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at 0.653. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends at 0.657. Change for August 2nd, 3%. Chilliz cost expectation for September 2025. First and foremost cost at $0.657. Exorbitant costs at 0.731, while low costs at 0.635. They found the middle value of costs at 0.677. Chilliz cost estimate toward the month's ends at 0.683. Change for September 4th, %. Chilliz estimate for October 2025. First and foremost cost at $0.683. Exorbitant costs at $0.760, while low costs are $0.660. They found the middle value of cost at $0.73. Chilliz cost estimate toward the month's ends at $0.710, change for October 4th, %. Chilliz cost expectation for November 2025. Before all else cost at $0.710. Excessive costs $0.797, while low costs are $0.693. They arrived at the midpoint of costs of $0.736. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends at $0.745, change for November 4th, 9%. Chilliz conjecture for December 2025. Before all else cost at $0.745. Excessive costs at $0.745, while low costs at $0.635. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at $0.702. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends at $0.683, change for December 8.3%. Chilliz cost expectation for January 2026. Before all else cost at $0.683. Excessive costs at $0.719, while low costs at $0.625. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at $0.675. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends are $0.672, change for January 1.6%. Chilliz conjecture for February 2026. At the outset cost at $0.672. Excessive costs are $0.835, while low costs are $0.672. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at $0.740. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends at $0.780, change for February 16th, 1%. Chilliz cost expectation for Walk 2026. Initially cost at $0.2780. Excessive costs are $0.780, while low costs are $0.609. They arrived at the midpoint of costs at $0.706. Chilliz cost figure toward the month's ends at $0.655, change for spring 16%. Chilliz figure for April 2026. Initially cost at $0.655. Excessive costs are $0.655, while low costs are $0.0512. They arrived at the midpoint of costs $0.0593. Chilliz cost figure toward the month's ends at $0.0550, change for April 16%. Chilliz cost expectation for May 2026. At the outset cost at $0.055. Excessive costs are $0.0553, while low costs are $0.0481. They arrived at the midpoint of costs are $0.0525. Chilliz cost conjecture toward the month's ends are $0.0517, change for May 6%. Chilliz conjecture for June 2026. At the outset cost at $0.0517.